This video is brought to you by Axion Now, who are holding Commandfest London this month. I'll see you there, and I'll talk more about it in the video. Duskmourn is here, and that means I need to do a list video of some kind. And with Magic always being Commander, why not a Commander list video? Look, all sarcasm aside, here are 5 cards that I really fucking like in Duskmourn that I'm going to use in my Commander decks, and I've already sworn I'm going to beep it out, and that means YouTube's going to take the ad revenue for the first, I don't know, day this video's up. These 5 picks probably won't set the world on fire, but they're the ones that I'm looking to play in multiple Commander decks over the course of the next, I don't know, until they get power crept out, I guess. And remember, if you're looking to pick up singles or sealed product, including the cards in this video or anything from Duskmourn, or pre-con decks from Duskmourn Commander, you can use the link in the description below to get 5% off your order, and it helps to support the show. If you use the word Kenobi at checkout as a code, the code Kenobi at checkout, you get one of these awesome Orc Army tokens as well while I'm fighting the hordes of darkness with a hand made out of milk. And I'm also going to be at Commandfest London in just about 2 weeks from this video going out. So if you want to play Commander with me, make sure you pick up a ticket from the link in the description below to Axion Now, one of the greatest tournament organisers, if not the best tournament organiser in the UK. The event is taking place on the 28th and 29th of September, and it will be at the Twickenham Stadium in London. Some of you might be saying Twickenham's not London. Don't worry about it. It's Commandfest London. I'll be doing a meet and greet. I'll be playing Commander all weekend long with viewers and people like yourselves. If you've got something you want me to sign, just come up to me and ask me, and I'll happily sign it. I'll have party blocks with me as well, and I should be in a special PK's event where we're doing some Commander Seal with a load of bulk and some boosters, including a collector booster as well. So if you want to look out for that event on the website, I'm not exactly sure what day you can sign up for it, but look out for that too. Link in the description below, and I'll see you at Commandfest London. So to be clear, I'm looking at 5 cards from Duskmourn proper, not from the Commander set. All the Commander cards should arguably be quite good in Commander. My first pick from the main set is Mirror Room / also Fractured Realm. Mirror Room Fractured Realm is a room, so I guess I'll cover exactly what that does in case you've somehow missed this, like you're living under a rock, or you don't watch any Magic content besides mine, and I haven't spoken about rooms yet, which I have, so that means you've missed one of my videos. Let's not get too into the weeds of that. When you play an enchantment room, that's right, all rooms are enchantments, you play it by paying for its unlock cost on one side or both. And that means it enters with that side unlocked. And then whilst it's in play, you can also pay for the other half as well, which allows you to unlock that side. Importantly, if you reanimate this or you flicker it, you don't have it come in with these sides unlocked. So bringing this back from the graveyard or flickering it in and out will not give you both sides for free. Just keep that in mind. On the left-hand side, Mirror Room is a 3 mana. When you unlock this door, create a token that's a copy of target creature you control, except its reflection in addition to other creature types. This is pretty much the lowest going rate for a clone, and normally at 3 mana, it only copies your own stuff. Think of the double-faced land from Zendikar. Was it from Zendikar? I can't remember what set it was from. The one that's got a clone on the back. I just looked it up. I'm so good at this game. It was from Zendikar. It's on screen now. On the other side of the card, Fractured Realms is 7 mana for if a triggered ability of a opponent you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. So Mirror Room does half of a Cackling counterpart. Importantly, it makes a token, which may be important for token synergies. For example, if you've got doublers, Mirror Room, much like Cackling counterpart, will give you 2 copies of that creature. So it's good with doublers too. A 3 mana clone that just goes off once on an enchantment is not all that exciting with the Mirror Room side, but the reason it's super hot, well, there's a couple of reasons. So firstly, it's on an enchantment and it copies a creature, which is a rarity in that sort of slot. And it's being on a permanent, you can flick it in and out and then repay the Mirror Room cost, means you can get multiple instances of this. So for example, if I do end up playing this in Abdul Adrian, I could put it under Abdul Adrian, have it come back in with the room locked, and reopen the door to clone Abdul Adrian, and thus put Mirror Room plus other stuff back under it, and so on and so on and so on. It gives you some added utility because you can recast the Mirror Room side if you close the door again, which I think is actually quite strong. But the important part is it's a double-faced, a modal spell in essence, but it's a modal spell where you don't have to pick one side and only get that and then move on with your life. The enchantment room sits around, and later on down the line when you've got 7 mana at sorcery speed, you can unlock Fractured Realm, which is a bonkers magic card. If a triggered ability of opponent you control would trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. That is not ETB triggers. That is not death triggers. That is not just the enchantment triggers you've got. It's everything. It's absolutely chuffing everything, which includes, by the way, Mirror Room. So if for some wild reason you haven't played this as a clone earlier and then played Fractured Realm off the back of it later, if you start off with a 7 mana Fractured Realm, you can then activate Mirror Room, unlock the door, trigger the enchantment, and get 2 clones. You get 2 triggers from Mirror Room room thanks to Fractured Realm. I think trigger doublers are already incredibly fun. 7 mana means it's not exactly competitive, but who gives a fuck? I'm not here to compete, I'm here to have a good time. I'm here to fuck about and find out. The fact that 7 mana spell also has a 3 mana mode earlier on seems pretty hot. I'm looking to play this in pretty much a vast majority of the blue-white nonsense decks that I enjoy, Abdul Adrian being the obvious pick. The Jolly Balloon Man is probably my pick for some of the coolest flavor in the set. This is a man who appears to either be A, blowing up the severed heads of people into balloons, or B, inhaling, sucking in the air from inside said balloons, which means, yeah, that's right, which one of those is more fucked up? It's a 3 mana 1/4 human clown, which already gets it up there in my estimation. I've always not really enjoyed the clowns of the Infinity set, but I enjoy clowns when they're fucking creepy. It has haste, it has 1 mana tap, create a token that's a copy of another target creature you control, except it's a 1/1 red balloon creature type in addition to its other colors and types, and it has flying and haste. Sacrifice at the beginning of the next end step, activate only as a sorcery. So in essence, this has the Kiki Jiki clause of copying a thing you control, except with some obvious caveats. Firstly, it costs 1 mana, which means you can't go infinite with a Pestamite. That is a simple fix we saw even on Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Beyond that, it can copy legendaries, which Kiki Jiki cannot, and then beyond that, it changes the creature fundamentally. You get a 1/1 red balloon creature type creature with flying and haste. Now there's a few things to unpack there. Firstly, it means you can upgrade any 0 power creatures, but that's not really much of a draw. The 1/1 red balloon thing is a thematic thing and a downside for the most part. If you're copying a Crater Hoof, you need a tiny little red balloon hoof. However, the hoof example kind of illustrates this. If you're copying things with good ETBs, good attack triggers, then you are off to the races. It is not better than Kiki Jiki because Kiki Jiki goes infinite with a ham sandwich, but the Jolly Balloon Man is a cheaper, more fixed version. That's the interesting point here, right? Is that in the command zone, it gives you access to 2 colors. It's also not triple red and 5 mana. It is just the low cost of 3 mana. And with haste, it means that on a 4 mana turn, on your 4th turn, you make a Jolly Balloon Man and you copy something. Whether that be a Solemn Simulacrum or whether that be something else with a lot more value that I can't think of right now. The coolest thing about this red-white Boros commander is that it doesn't care about combat, except for the fact that the creature you make has haste. But it's a balloon, so it does no damage, so who cares? I love when they explore things for red-white that isn't A, go to combat, or B, stick a sword on it. I think this is a wonderful design. I imagine this in red-white tokens decks of some description, and by tokens I mean decks that can monopolize on the fact that you're making token copies of things. So this wants to be alongside an Anointed Possession, for example. Also a fan of the idea of Mirror Box and Mirror Gallery. Effects like this have become a little bit more present. We've seen more of them printed in the last 10 years than I guess we did in the 10 years previously. The big one being Kadric Soul Kindler, a commander that largely flies under the radar and doesn't get thought about. And I don't really think about him either, if I'm completely honest with you. But the fact that he is a 4 mana 4/3 where the legend rule doesn't apply to tokens you control, so you can copy other legends with your Balloon Man, and then whenever another non-token legend permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1, and if you do create a copy of that token gains haste and gets sacked as well. Yada yada yada. With Kadric in play, you play a Jolly Balloon Man, pay 1 mana, make a copy of this non-token legendary permanent. You now have 2 Jolly Balloon Men who are not legend ruled out of the game. Then you can activate Jolly Balloon Man to make a copy of Kadric if you wanted to, so you can play another legendary that turn and get 2 copies of that for 2 mana, and you start to do lots of weird, dumb shit. I'm not gonna figure out the exact combo for you, but these two seem like a match made in heaven. Kadric and the Jolly Balloon Man just making little dragon spirits and fucking blowing up heads and shit. Fun fact, when I first recorded this bit, I actually thought that Kadric said another token legendary. I thought it was like a weird thing that had like just never really had a space before. You know, when they like the blue-black dragon commander and stuff. I thought it was like them getting ready for future commanders, and Jolly Balloon Man might have been that future commander. I'm a dum-dum. And big shout out to my Discord for helping me sense check that. My third pick is another legendary creature with Marvin Murderous Mimic at 2 mana for a 2/2. It's a toy, and Marvin Murderous Mimic has all activated abilities of creatures you control that don't have the same name as this creature, and he's fucking horrifying. With Marvin, we're not going to be putting him in the command zone. Marvin is going to be a tool, a utility, a infinite combo engine, or a utility creature. I really like this creature. It being fucking creepy, it being fun and unique, and very cheap and efficient. It's ticking a lot of boxes here. He has 2 modes, like I said. The first one is assembling combos. So for example, if we have a Pillar Pala or another Untapper, a plus a Mana Dork like a Llanowar Tribe or a Faber or Elder, and bang, you've gone infinite. There's a million and one of these combos like this involving anything that can can untap itself, and anything that can tap for some mana or some sort of ability, you can go, you know, twiddling back and forth and do a load of crazy shit with him. That's the first application for Marvin that I think is just going to be quite strong, and I think he will be a good utility search op dork for something like Sisay, for example. That will allow you to do those kind of things. But more interestingly, I think getting a second copy of the activated ability of powerful commanders, like let's say a Kiki Jiki the Mirror Breaker, or a Jolly Balloon Man, or the aforementioned Sisay. Look, these are all callbacks to things I said in the last like 5 minutes. It allows you to play Marvin alongside your commander and get 2 activations of a very powerful effect, like the aforementioned commanders. I think Marvin's very, very good, mainly in the 99, not as a commander himself. And we're already back to copying things with Nico Light of Hope. 4 mana, 3/4 human wizard. When Nico Light of Hope enters, create 2 shard tokens. Shard tokens, if you don't remember them, because I don't blame you for not remembering them, they're enchantments with 2 mana, sacrifice enchantment, scry 1, then draw a card, and then 2 mana, tap to exile target non-legendary creature you control, and then shards you control become copies of them until the beginning of the next end step. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next end step. Look, there's a lot of weird copying stuff going on, both in this list and just Duskmourn in general. I do wonder if this was some sort of sub-theme that hasn't been clearly spoken about. But with Nico Light of Hope here, we get a few effects that I think are interesting. They create some space between both copying and flickering. So the secondary mode flickers a thing out until end step, which is a thing I love to do with Flickerists and similar. I think the second mode makes this an absolute auto-include for Abdul Adrian, one of my favourite decks of all time. But on top of that, you can then copy your existing creatures. So flickering out a Sun Titan to turn your shards into Sun Titans, for example. The list of things you can flicker out for value and get value off of your shards are absolutely endless. And the other interesting part of this is that if you are flickering Nico as part of your like flicker package in the deck with your teleportation circles, your Thasses, your cloud shifts, your momentary blinks and similar, Nico will bring more and more shards with them. That means that you're going to get 2 shards, 4 shards, 6 shards. Flickering Nico multiple times to create an army of shards and then suddenly turn them all into something scary or just value centric will be either death to all opponents or some sort of fun time. Either way, I'm a big fan of this card. Sadly, it's another include for Abdul. And that's not very exciting for me to keep saying Abdul, but look, this is an auto include for Abdul. This is insanely fun to muck around with. I can't wait to flicker Abdul out, turn my shards into Abduls. My opponent asks me why I've done it, and I say, I just wanted to, and I can't do that because it says no legendary creature on it. Okay, I'm not flickering Abdul with this. You're flickering Restoration Angel, Flicker Wisp, Sun Titan, non-legendary clones that aren't currently cloning a legend, and so on and so on. And then we come to what I think might be the most powerful, like just on its own card in the set. And it's another legendary creature. I'm sorry that my commander list is 4 out of 5 are legendary creatures, but Kona Rescue Beasty is a 4 mana 4/3. It's a beast survivor creature type, and it's the only imaginary friend survivor card, I think. It has survival, the mechanic that triggers on second main phase if the owner of the trigger is tapped. So at the beginning of your second main phase, if Kona is tapped, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Yes, you read that right. This is an Elvish Piper on crack. When you look at Elvish Piper, it's tap 1 green mana, and you put a creature card from your hand on the battlefield. You look at Quicksilver Amulet, 4 mana tap. You may put a creature card from your hand on the battlefield. Thran Temporal Gateway, 4 mana to tap it. You may put a historic permanent card from your hand on the battlefield. Kona is a 4 mana 4/3 creature, which means it's much more susceptible to dying than, say, Quicksilver Amulet or Thran Temporal Gateway because creatures are more delicate. But the reason it doesn't have an activated cost to be able to do the cool thing is because you have to tap it via other means. There's at least one singular hoop to jump through before you get the payoff. The interesting thing is that the payoff is so insurmountably better than the aforementioned Piper or Gateway or Amulet because it's any permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. This means you're putting Omnisciences and other dumb stuff, big 7 mana, 8 mana enchantments into play quite easily off of Kona. It's going to be good in a lot of decks that want to go big, and that's casual and more sweaty decks too. The interesting thing about Kona needing to tap and not having a tapped ability on her is that the hoop you need to jump through is kind of suggested to be combat, right? Go to combat, go to second main phase after you've tapped with her, trigger and get her thing. So she has to survive combat. So making her indestructible or giving her like unblockable is the best way to do that with a combat. But let's just sack that bad boy off and do some more straightforward tapping. A Springleaf Drum, for example, will give you a mana in your first main phase by tapping Kona to go to your second main phase and just shit something out of your hand into play. Like one well-formed nugget of, oh no, there's a big thing in play. You can convoke with her too, using convoke spells like Chord of Calling to go and fetch up some sort of utility stalk. Meanwhile, there's a trigger on the stack. Once the chord resolves, the trigger resolves, and you put into play something huge and disgusting, maybe even the second part of the combo where you just called it for the first. What's really funny is that, like, my first thought was stick this in Essica, the Prismatic Bridge, because it's another bridge effect, right? Allows you to play things that are stuck in your hand. But what I didn't realize when I'd written that into my notes is that the other side of the bridge, Essica, God of the Tree, is a 3-mana Vigilant Mana Dork that makes all your legendaries into Mana Dorks. And that's you can now tap Kona to get the trigger. This also works with anything else that allows her to gain those sort of abilities where you tap to make mana. Kona is my pick from the list to make some waves somewhere in Standard or similar, where it's some obnoxious deck that second main phase yet to put a big thing into play. I think Kona is very good and will be good in Commander. And that's my 5 hot picks for Commander right now, all of which aren't exactly surprising if I'm honest. So don't blame me if the prices are higher on them. They're already kind of hyped. I'm not reinventing the wheel here. Maybe I'll do a deeper dive on some $1 pre-order gems that are cheap and easy to get hold of right now and aren't demanding a price tag. If you have an idea for those, put them in the comment section below and I'll shout you out in the next video if I make that video. Don't forget I'll be at Commandfest London in London 2 weeks from now. Link to the description below for that. And if you like the cut of my jib, there's a Patreon down there as well. Give me $2 a month, hang out my Discord server, all that good stuff. I'll see you in the next one. Ta-ta for now.